What's up everybody, my name's Johnny Sheen and welcome to Course Crash. This is in no way related to a crash course, alright? Please don't sue us. It's all okay. Today we're going to be talking about food waste and dietary choices. Now I want you to think back to your last meal, okay? Did you eat all your food? If you did, that's great, that's great. Most people don't. And that's a bit of a problem because they take more than they need and then they throw out the rest. They just gone, that's it. Now the question is, where does the food go? Does it just disappear? Can it be reused? You know, what can we do about food waste? How do we minimize food waste and rather maximize food use? And this is what we're going to be investigating today, all right? Let's go to the intro. All right, first we're going to figure out where does food waste go? And for that, let's go to the thought bubble.
Let's start with that first question. Where exactly does the food waste go? It has been estimated that 40% of globally produced food ends up in a landfill somewhere, whether that be from rotting on store shelves or in the back of your fridge, or maybe just not wanting to eat the bad part of a banana. Most food uneaten ends up in the trash to go to a landfill, which you may assume from that point on decomposes harmlessly. However, you may be shocked to find that that is actually not the case. Methane, one of the most prevalent and highest possibilities to pollute our atmosphere, unfortunately is emitted during the process of food decay, which accounts for 17% of the US's total methane emissions.
Well, that's just crazy how food waste can be that problematic. But now we're going to focus on the solutions. And honestly, I kind of liked it. Back at the park, you know, the view was nice, the day is nice. It was really sunny. So we're going to go back there for that.
This is a big problem, but luckily we have a big solution. Composting. Composting is the act of taking old food waste and turning it into a usable fertilizer that can assist in plant growth. This comes with some comparative advantages as opposed to other alternative landfill solutions. For one, composting as compared to anaerobic digestion, which is another form of composting that involves specialized and expensive bacteria and the use of biogas to break down food into a similar type of fertilizer, is very expensive. Alternatively, it is also much more green than those like incinerator plants, which burn the trash to get rid of it, but also produce a lot of CO2. Another benefit is that it acts as a suitable alternative for what would be synthetic toxic fertilizers that, while assist in plant growth, can also run off into local watersheds and pollute them.
For all you college students out there, you might be wondering, well, I'm eating dining hall food and cold ramen out of pizza boxes or whatever you're doing. So what can I do? Well, here's the plan. Try to minimize your food waste. And I know that's really simple, just straight to the point, you know, just don't waste food, but it can do so much. Don't get more than you need. And if you do have to waste, make sure you compost it. Composting is really important. And to learn more about composting, we're going to go back to the thought bubble.
Composting has had its roots in North Carolina for decades, starting as far back as the 1990s. While comparatively, this is not as long a time as something as like the tobacco industry or furniture making, which North Carolina is also very known for, that go back to, say, the 1800s, it has had time to spring up a lot of capacity. North Carolina has a capacity right now to take in 1.82 million tons of compost or organic food waste. However, it has been estimated that only around 30% of that capacity, or 773,000 tons, is actually used. Now, why is that, you may be wondering? There are a few acceptable reasons for this. The first one is convenience. Why would you go out of your way to drive, say, 30 minutes to a compost pickup spot when you could simply throw it right in your trash right now? Alternatively, you could also get one of those compost bins that would be like a trash bin that you just roll out to the street. Those, however, are very expensive, as composting is still not widely accepted as a viable alternative like recycling, which may be cheaper and easier to procure. And the last reason may just because they haven't heard about it. Why would you have any reason to go out of your way to look for something like compost when you already have recycling? And why would you even have a reason to look for it if just throwing something in the trash is still so easy?
All right, after hearing all that hype about composting, it's kind of sad to hear that it might fall apart at the human level. But don't worry, we have a very easy solution. Don't waste. Like, just don't. You don't need to get more than you need at the store or the dining halls or whatever else. Get exactly what you need, eat all of it, and that'll be that. We're not wasting. But in the event you do waste, we also have a good solution. Make sure it can be reused, whether that's composting, whether that's saving leftovers. I know fridges work. Fridges do work. And I'm going to read you an interesting stat. I've got my computer right here. 15% of the food wasted, if everyone reduced that, it would be enough to feed 25 million Americans. That's 7% of the US population. That's an absurd amount. So just don't waste food, and the world can be so much better off. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.